Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. I am Cage, and listen, I feel like I said that every time. We got a lot. We got a lot to talk about. Okay, there's a lot of stuff we've been neglecting around here. Okay, um, not all of it I'm going to talk about right now. I got to talk about House of the Dragon season 3, episode 8, the season finale. That will be in another episode. I'm sure it'll be up around the same time as this. I got to talk about X-Men 97 soon or at some point. I got to talk about Lanterns, which just premiered. I haven't watched it yet, but the first episode is out. I got to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender season 2 live action, which I've watched one episode of. I got to talk about so much shit, but that is not what we're doing today. Today we're talking about D23, all the announcements made. We'll talk about other tertiary nerd news as well that we kind of got leading into a lot of this. But we got to talk about the big announcements, guys. We got to talk about the big things going on, okay? So, first of all, it was announced during Comic-Con, I believe, that Vision Quest would mark the end of Wanda's trilogy. It's premiering on Disney Plus October 14th. We did get a trailer for Vision Quest, and it looks really trippy and fucky, and it reminds me of the 2015-16, whenever that was, Vision Run, which was really great in comics. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited that Ultron's coming back, James Spader as Ultron. And it looks really fucky, so that looks cool. The rest of this we talked about, or I talked about. More news on the Warner Brothers Paramount merger. It's on hold for now. There's supposed to be some review going on like next summer or something, and Paramount's like, that's fine, we'll wait till then for everything. And then David Elton started getting angry, and he was like threatening to pull out of California, and then wanted to move to Mars or some shit, I don't know. But if the Warner Brothers Paramount merger collapses, the Ellisons, who own who own Paramount currently, would have to pay out $9.8 billion. So that's pretty crazy. Not sure if I ever mentioned this, but there is also a Venom animated movie in the works. Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein from Final Destination's Bloodlines are directing. Sony's done okay with their animated stuff, so who knows what's going on with that. Kevin Feige did this whole interview, I think I mentioned before, where he was asked a bunch of things. He was asked about Blade, and he said it's his, one of his greatest disappointments is that they weren't able to make something work with Blade. And Mahershala Ali, who was supposed to play the character, has thrown some shade at Marvel. He said, "I've moved on. I'm good. You had me under contract. If they wanted to do the movie, we would have done the movie. So we're not doing the movie. They didn't want to do it, so they should answer the question." Yeah, he said that to GQ magazine. It sounds like he doesn't want to talk about it. And he sounds like he entirely blames Marvel for the movie not being made. But we heard a whole bunch of different things going on throughout the production of this movie, including that he wasn't a fan of a lot of the scripts. So there's probably some truth to it being Marvel, and some truth being he didn't have something he would be proud to make. There was an interview also with Indy Navarrete before, where she was asked about X-Men, really, because she said she had spoken with Jake Schreier, who is directing X-Men. He also directed Thunderbolts. And she said that she wants to play Mystique, and I was not happy with that. I'm done with Mystique. I do not want her to play Mystique. I don't want a Mystique, and luckily she is playing someone different. We'll get to that in a second. There was all this news about the Booster Gold series being canceled, and then there was news that it was still in development, and that there were new creative teams being hired, and no actor had been cast. I have no idea what's going on with that. There's other stuff going on with DC that I'll touch on a little later. Tom Holland also said that he knows when a live-action Miles Morales will be introduced in the MCU. He said MCU, so we'll take that for what it is. We'll see what happens. Sony boss Tim Rothman also said there are no more Spider-Man spinoff films in active development, which is good news because they were all dog shit. This is what his quote was: "Ultimately, the audience wasn't satisfied enough with them. Whether that's a fair assessment of those movies, who knows? The audience is the boss and they didn't respond. It's as simple as that. Yeah, it is as simple as that, and it is an accurate representation of those films. They're dog shit. So, also leading up to all this, about a little over a week ago, it was confirmed via Deadline that Kit Connor had been cast as Cyclops in the X-Men film. Um, We'll get to the rest of the cast later. David Zaslav says that Warner Brothers has no plans to change strategy at DC Studios despite Supergirl flopping. He says Man of Tomorrow looks amazing. They're working very hard on the Batman 2, and DC feels very right now. Very good right now. And they should continue to move forward. I think the thing with Supergirl is it was an okay movie. It wasn't great. It did horrible at the box office. One of the biggest box office flops of all time. And that is alarming for a studio that is trying to reboot. I think the slate decisions that have been made and the way that James Gunn has approached DC as a whole, there's some mistakes there because his whole philosophy of, well, if there's a good script and you bring it to me, we'll make it. You need to have a plan, and the announcements that they've made, like the slate that they have, isn't something that gets people super excited. I mean, Clayface isn't going to make people excited. It might be great, but Supergirl as well. Supergirl is a character that comic book fans and nerds know, but the mass population doesn't really, and it's hard to get people to buy in at this point, right? Like, when you look at, this is essentially their phase one, but when you look at the phase one of Marvel, sure, a lot of those characters were lesser known characters in terms of comics, right? Sure, everybody knows Captain America and the Incredible Hulk, but Iron Man, before 2008, he wasn't a household name. I'm just going to tell you the truth. And Thor wasn't super common to the masses as a comic book character. People knew Thor, the god, but not necessarily the Marvel Comics character. But we're at a point now where we've had those movies were made on smaller budgets. They didn't have to be as successful. They just had to be successful enough to keep going. And they were. And then Avengers came out and everything changed, right? And now we've had so many comic book movies and so much what people call superhero fatigue, which I don't really think is a huge thing. Spider-Man just became the fastest movie to hit $2 billion. It's an incredible achievement for a superhero movie. People will pay for things that they think are going to be quality. Supergirl had a lot going against it, and in a universe that hasn't been fully established, that you know who your cash cows really are. Superman itself didn't blow the box office away, but it made decent money. You know, Batman, I get it. There's complications with Robert Pattinson's Batman that's going on. That's an Elseworld thing, whatever. But Batman's the cash cow of DC. Batman is, in most people's opinions, the greatest superhero of all time. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that, you know, if you want to establish a universe, you start with the Superman movie and then a Batman movie, and you try to get people ginned up and excited for that. Like, they could have taken the Marvel approach more or less, right? Where Marvel is introducing the characters of the Avengers before releasing the Avengers, and you would think that they would do something similar, right, to that. Obviously, Zack Snyder did something quote unquote similar, but his Batman movie wasn't a Batman movie. It was a Batman and Superman movie. So you establish Superman, you establish Batman, you in this world by himself. You establish Wonder Woman in this world by herself. You establish maybe Green Lantern in this world by himself, the Flash in this world by himself. And then you can even just make your Justice League from there, and you can have your tertiary characters, be it Red Tornado or Booster Gold or Blue Beetle or whoever, in your Justice League. And so going to Supergirl, right, and potentially they're not even building for a Justice League necessarily. I mean, Justice Society exists in this world. We have Lanterns, a TV show, and I think TV shows mixed with movies, Marvel tried that as well. I don't think it's a successful kind of strategy necessarily, but we'll see what happens. There could be cause for alarm if Clayface does terribly. I don't know if it will. I think horror is on the rise, and Clayface looks pretty good. And even Lanterns has had really good initial reviews. But there's other issues going on with that world, which I will quickly go to because I think it's a little more relevant right now, as I'm talking about my opinions on the DC universe. Um, so this came out where uh, the Amanda Waller series that was announced uh, and the Amazon focused Paradise Lost series that were announced are no longer in development at HBO, though they are still in development internally at DC. So what that means, we don't know. It's then been reported that a Catwoman series and a Poison Ivy series were pitched to DC but turned down. That happens all the time. I'm not so concerned about that. The collective news caused some DC fans to turn on the still on track Jimmy Olsen series, which, okay, yeah, I get it. Jimmy Olsen's not a super popular character, especially for people outside of the comic book zeitgeist. But Jimmy Olsen, Gorilla Grodd, I think that could be really interesting. Who knows what's going to happen with that, though. Let's get to the D23 news. Ahsoka Season 2. Some Star Wars news. Ahsoka Season 2 premieres January 20th, 2027. We got a trailer. It looks incredible. Super excited for Ahsoka Season 2. The Season 1 was fine. It had some great episodes. It had some meh episodes. But the character of Ahsoka she's a great character. Hayden Christensen coming back is, I don't care what anybody says. I fucking love it. The guy playing Ezra is awesome. I've seen some interviews with him where he talks about what Star Wars means to him, and it was really, really emotional. Made me feel, okay. And that's what Star Wars is supposed to do, okay. It's supposed to make you feel. So I'm a big fan of a lot of the things I've seen from Ahsoka Season 2. The other bit of Star Wars news was we got a name for the Starfighter character that Ryan Gosling is playing. He's playing a character called Cade Oberon. Starfighter will be in theaters May 28th, 2027. That's soon. That's a year that's less than a year. So that's pretty cool. And then the final bit on Star Wars for now is that Dave Filoni has confirmed that they're putting the original version of the 1977 Star Wars in theaters for its 50th anniversary. This is something we pretty much knew that had been announced, kind of, or rumored. It's been confirmed now. I'm super excited for that. That'll be probably in May of next year as well. You got that. You get Starfighter. It's going to be a good month for movies. May 2027. Now, Incredibles 3 in theaters June 16th, 2028. There's some cool art for that. I'm a big fan of the Incredibles series. Kingdom Hearts is also getting an animated series. It's in the works at Disney Plus. No other news on that. And Kingdom Hearts 4 will release late 2027. So another Kingdom Hearts video game. Big news. Big news on the cast of X-Men. Indy Navarrete not playing Rogue. I'm sorry, not playing Mystique. She's playing Rogue. Love that. Great. Christopher Abbott is playing Professor X. Fantastic. Don't know anything about that guy, but whatever. Adam Driver has been cast as Mr. Sinister, a villain that we haven't seen in live action yet. Very exciting. I like this. I'm happy. Yay, yay, yay. Samara Weaving, we've already known as playing Emma Frost in X-Men. And listen, if I'm Cyclops, I am fucking rubbing my hands. Sadie Sink is Jean Grey, but listen, I am a big fan of redheads. I got Medusa right here. Medusa from the Inhumans. Bam. Always love Mary Jane. Love Madeline Pryor. Love Jean Grey. Love redheads. Okay. Samara Weaving. I haven't had like a real celebrity crush since like Emma Watson in 2007 or 8 or something when I was a child. When I was like, I don't know, 13 years old, 14 years old. Samara Weaving might just be my new celebrity crush. Wow. Listen, I'm not one for the fan bait. You know, they released some images of her today reading Emma Frost comics in her string bikini, and I know that's going to drive the nerds wild. You know, those things don't really drive me wild, but whew, she may just be my celebrity crush right now, okay? If I'm allowed to have one. Maya Boyd has been cast as Storm. Don't know anything about her either, but she looks great. So here's the cast we have so far. I'll reread everyone I just read. Christopher Abbott as Professor X, Kit Connor as Cyclops, Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, Indy Navarrete as Rogue, Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister, Maya Boyd as Storm, Listen, we don't have a Beast yet. Will we get a Beast? Who knows? We don't have a Wolverine yet. I'm happy about that. Listen, if we're doing introduction to X-Men or any of this stuff, we can get there. We don't need Wolverine. Wolverine's oversaturated in my opinion. Magneto's oversaturated in my opinion. These are all characters we've seen a lot of. I'd love for Magneto, Professor X, any of their story to take a backseat in this movie, and really make a great X-Men movie. I cannot wait. I'm excited for this film. It comes out May something of 2028, May 5th. I think it's 5/5/28. So big year 2028. Lots of great movies. And yeah, May 5th, 2028. Wow. X-Men, very exciting. And something as someone said, I don't do fan casts. I'm terrible at them. But someone I was talking to was talking about who they'd cast as Gambit, or like they're like, oh, I don't know if it was a fan cast or a rumor or something. I don't really care about rumors, but Austin Butler as Gambit could be it. Okay, it could be it. I don't know if they're going to even bring in a Gambit. I think so many people. There's people that are still living in the past, and people are saying, "Oh, give Channing Tatum a full chance." Channing Tatum gets to live the dream of being Gambit. He's been in Deadpool and Wolverine. He's going to be in Doomsday as Gambit. He may be in Secret Wars still. Who knows? But I think that is that time we'll move past and we'll move forward. And the same thing with Hugh Jackman, and the same thing with all the legacy characters from the MCU. Right? We're moving on, guys. We're moving past RDJ. We're moving past Chris Evans. We're probably moving past Chris Hemsworth. We're probably moving past obviously other characters that are no longer there, but a lot of those big ones. We're moving forward. We're moving in a new direction, and we should, because we can't keep reliving the past, right? Like, we got to move on. We got to start telling new stories with new characters, and I think that's what they're doing, and it makes me more excited for the future of the MCU. And I think the X-Men are going to be a massive part of moving forward with that. So that's it, really, when it comes to D23 news. Obviously, there's other things still happening with D23, where they had a whole parks thing that they talked about, and there's some other news like that. But there's a whole bunch of news we really missed because we haven't been talking news lately. But Wonder Man was supposed to come back for season 2. That was confirmed. They canceled it, which is pretty unfortunate, because season 1 was pretty good. We all enjoyed it. We all liked that shit. You know what I'm saying? So very disappointing to hear that. But yeah, yeah, very disappointing. This is the news about the Paramount Warner Brothers thing that I mentioned. David Ellison threatens to pull Paramount out of California, starting October 1st, amid stalled Warner Brothers merger. Ellison will stay as long as the state's Attorney General Rob Bonta agrees to settlement talks in the antitrust case filed by 12 states seeking to block the deal. October 1st is when Paramount will begin accruing a ticking fee payable to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders of $7 million per day. Bonta has not publicly said what concessions from Paramount WBD he would consider acceptable enough to take the lawsuit off the table, but the Democratic Attorney General has said any remedies would need to be structural, i.e. divestments, rather than behavioral, which would be like imposing certain production quotas. So there's a whole bunch of details and other things in this deal. My inkling is that they would want it similar to when Disney bought Fox. Disney bought a lot of Fox, but they didn't buy like Fox News, right? And the concern would be like if Paramount gains control over CNN or MSNBC or whatever like liberal news programs there are, that he would seek to change them or persuade them or do something, right? And I don't really care about all that. I don't really care about most of this stuff, to be honest. Like, I think there's a lot of drama to the deal that's entertaining to talk about, but what ends up happening is out of my control, so I don't think a lot about it. And I don't know, like, it's easy to say if this happens, we know what'll happen on the other end, right? But we don't really know the impacts of things like that until they happen. We can just say, well, we've seen it here, or this and this, and maybe this will happen again, or this will happen this way, and I don't have those answers. But great news from D23, guys. Okay, X-Men. Ugh. Listen, X-Men, we need it. We haven't had good X-Men in, well, I mean, okay. We've had X-Men 97, which is great. But we haven't had a good X-Men film for how long, right? Some people will say like 15 years, around when X-Men First Class came out, or a couple years later when Days of Future Past came out in 2014. I think the best X-Men movie we've still got to date that's an X-Men movie is X2. So it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I want some good X-Men movie content. Getting them in the MCU is huge. I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing. And the Doomsday trailer, right? That was the other bit of D23 that came out. They released the Doomsday trailer, and it was the one they showed at Comic-Con, I'm pretty sure. And it looks incredible, right? It just looks great. And everyone has different ideas of what the movie's going to be about, and they're all speculating and talking to each other, and they're doing this and this and this and this. I don't fucking know. All I know is there's certain context clues, and even the initial teasers we were given, where it was like Captain America, or sorry, Steve Rogers with his child, and we had Thor with his daughter, and then we have Doom in the trailer saying, "You've lived stolen lives." Well, Captain America wasn't supposed to go back in time and have a kid, so maybe that's a stolen life. And Thor's daughter is Gore's daughter, more or less, right? Gore, the God Butcher, and Thor adopts her because, if you remember what happened in Eternity. And Thor: Love and Thunder was one of the films Kevin Feige said, one of the 15 films he suggested you watch before Doomsday. So stolen lives, right? And again, parents with their children. Reed Richards, right? Franklin Richards, which we see the post-credit scene. It's evident from the trailer that Doom lost his child and his wife. And these are people who have children that shouldn't. And so there might be some motivation there, right? Like, if you look at it from the outside in. The reality is we don't know what's going to happen. We don't really know what the motivations are. We don't know if Doom's going to be, here as a good guy. We don't know how it connects to him looking like Tony Stark. If he looks like Tony Stark, maybe he's all scarred up in the face and he doesn't look anything like Tony Stark, which would be great. Because I think showing his face draws a lot more questions. And it's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, but I'm more and more confident in Doomsday the more I see of it, which is a good sign, because when they announced RDJ coming back, I was nervous. And then Chris Evans coming back also made me nervous, because it just feels desperate. But just because something's desperate doesn't mean it's bad. So it all depends on what they give us. And the Russos have given us the best content we've gotten out of the MCU. I mean, Infinity War, Endgame, and Civil War and Winter Soldier, all in the top 5 maybe of MCU films. Probably top 10 for most people, but top 5 for sure, for some. So I mean, we got to trust the Russos on this. We got to trust that they're going to give us something amazing. And at this point, based on what I've seen, I do trust. I trust, guys. I believe. So I'm excited for the next few months. 4 months from now is Doomsday, and that's gonna. I can't wait, to be honest. Usually, like, I don't get super excited about things. I'm like, whatever, and I will. I'll be chill, I'll be whatever. My wife will say, "Are you excited?" I'll be like, "Yeah, well, I'll be excited when I'm there, right?" But I do feel some excitement. I feel some excitement for what's to come. So yeah. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna try to put out some additional contents over the next few days. So House of the Dragon finale, I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about X-Men 97 in the next few days, and maybe Lanterns as well. So yeah, You'll be hearing from me. You'll be hearing plenty from me. Okay. Um, I've been working a lot, guys. I've been working a lot. I've been working a lot of days. And when I'm not working, I'm chilling. My dog, he's been a little bit sick, so been taking care of him. Well, mostly my wife's been taking care of him, and I just rub his belly and give him pets. I'm not very useful sometimes, so I try to be like supportive and pay for the vet bills and whatnot. But yeah, so that's been something. And then the Hobbit set for Magic the Gathering dropped, and I love Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, and so I've been playing quite a bit of that just on my phone on Arena, where I can. So lots of stuff, guys. Lots of stuff. But if there's anything you want me to talk about, anything I missed, just let me know. You can always comment on the YouTube videos or on Spotify. You can leave a review on any of the podcast platforms. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you don't like it, it's fine. Like I'm not gonna be upset. It's okay. Not everybody likes things. Not everybody likes me, and that's okay. Most people don't. But yeah, that's it. Chair will be back at some point. I'm sure he's got a lot going on. He's got his own life, and so like for me, this is not a job. It's not a necessity. It's not anything anybody needs. We don't make any money off this. We just do it for fun in our spare time. So when he wants to be here, then he's of course he's always welcome. And when he's not feeling it, when he's got other stuff going on, when he don't want to be here, that's okay too. I'm it's not gonna stop me from spewing all my bullshit. Sometimes it's good, or most of the time I prefer to have someone else to bounce off of or present another opinion or have something else, right? Because I'm a person of a singular mind, and sometimes I can look at perspective and whatever, but I can't think like other people because I'm not other people. So yeah, I might try to convince my wife to talk about X-Men 97, but it would be audio only, most likely. So we'll see. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. But that's it. Thank you all. Much love, and I'll be back next time. Maybe tomorrow or whenever. Yeah. Look at. Oh, okay.